to its true condition. The law of God is an instrument that convicts. It's an instrument that slays the sinner. It slays the sinner in the sense that the sinner gets a proper estimate of his or her true condition. And when the person sees his or her true condition, the person dies, in the sense that the person realizes, I need someone to deliver me. That's why Paul cried out, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? And the answer always is Christ.
Amen.
There are people in churches every weekend, Adventist churches, Baptist, Catholic, Presbyterian, Pentecostal, who are numb to their true condition. They are church members making the lives of other church members a living hell and see no problem. There are church members who come to church dressed anyway and see no problem. There are church members who do anything they like on Sabbath and they see no problem. And so the anthem of the church has become, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? No one can see what's wrong with anything, because even for the church that presumably respects God's law has been relegated. And so we are in a condition where no one sees anything. We are numb and we are dumb. But the Bible has a cure. And it is that about which I have spoken all week. The law of God, which expresses his righteousness and his holiness. We tend to think righteousness and holiness are two different things. We see righteousness as doing what's right. We see holiness of being free from impurities, free from stains, and we think holiness is different from righteousness. A holy person is a little higher than a righteous person. There is no difference between righteousness and holiness. A holy person is someone who has had a proper understanding of his or her wickedness and has gone to Jesus Christ for cleansing, for restoration, and through his continual grace has grown and grown and grown, separating himself or herself more and more from the world and its impurities. The only way to be pure in the sight of God is to live a life in harmony with the same law that approved the life of Jesus Christ. When people who make no profession of Christ engage in sin, it's horrible in the sight of God. But when those of us who profess a relationship with Christ see nothing wrong with sin, then it becomes an abomination in the sight of God. The Bible speaks of sins and it speaks of abominations. Now, any sin will get you lost if it remains unconfessed in your life. But some sins are truly horrible. They are abominations, and one of them must be the fact that so-called Christians do not see sin for what it is. Amen. If you don't see sin for what it is, how can you prepare for the coming of Jesus Christ? If I don't see sin for what it is, how can I grow in grace when I approve that which works contrary to grace? God has given to us his law. The law has several functions. One of them is to reveal to the sinner the true extent of the sinner's condition. It is when that happens that the sinner, seeing the hopelessness of his condition, turns to Jesus Christ. But the church is full from top to bottom with Christians who really feel no need for Christ. Let me say it again. The church is full of people who feel no need for Jesus Christ. They are loyal to the church as an organization. They support the church financially. They defend the church, but they feel no need for Christ because they have no sense of their sinfulness. And if some of us would catch a glimpse of our true condition, we would seek reconversion and rebaptism. Numb and dumb. Ellen White writes, Evangelism, page 375, paragraph 2. The Lord calls for a decided reformation. And when a man is truly reconverted, or a woman, let him be rebaptized. Let him renew his covenant with God, and God will renew his covenant with him. Reconversion must take place among the members, that as God's witnesses they may testify to the authoritative power of the truth that sanctifies the soul. Some of us need to start with God all over again. I mean, start all over again. When David sinned, he had to start all over again. Ellen White writes, he confessed, he repented, and he was reconverted. That's David, on whose throne Christ will sit. He confessed, he repented, he was reconverted. David needed reconversion. The man of whom God said, he was a man after my own heart. Because David, after he sinned a double-barreled sin, adultery and murder, it only struck him when Nathan the prophet came to him and brought it to his attention. David apparently was suffering from a degree of numbness. David. If that can afflict David, the sweet singer of Israel, the writer of the Psalms, can it afflict us? Yes. My brothers, my sisters, as you sit where you sit and you listen to God's word, may I ask you a question? Do not answer me. Are you numb spiritually? Does sin bother you? Not only in your life, but in others. I've heard Christians say, I don't do this or that, but if you want to do it, that's fine. You may have heard that. I don't do it, but if you want to do it, that's fine. No child of God should speak like that. It is not fine for anyone to say, not for me or for you. If I do it, it's not fine. If you do it, it is not fine. We must have a hatred for sin, and that hatred can only grow as we glimpse the righteousness of Christ in the law.
Amen.
And so God the Father himself said of Jesus Christ in Hebrews chapter 1 verse 9, thou hast loved righteousness, which is right doing, and hated iniquity. Let me ask you a question. Do we hate sin? Question 2, don't answer me, or 3. There is a sin you and I are committing. Are we bothered? Are we bothered? Are we troubled? Do we lose sleep at night? Now, if you're threatened with dismissal from the job, you lose sleep. If you heard that your son was in prison, you would lose sleep. Do we lose sleep over the sins in our lives? And I know I seem to be beating the thing over and over, but I must. Jesus told Peter, lovest thou me? Yes. Lovest thou me? Yes. Lovest thou me? Until he thought Peter got it. Tonight, someone needs to make a decision to start with God